Chi vuole Rústicas habilidades, margens de inovação,
Vamos a voltar adiante.
ilmiy rahbarlar butunlay to'laqonli bo'laylik. Ishchi taqdirchisi Namangan davlat universiteti ingliz tili amaliy kursi katedra dotsenti Sarimsoq Qodirov Muhammadjanovna va tashqi taqdirchi esa yuridik dotsenti G'ayrat Hojiboyev Shantarovich.
Good morning, everybody. Now I'm going to introduce myself firstly. I am Xona Ingliz Tili. It's my final year on master's degree. Now I'm going to present my last presentation, I hope, about my dissertation. My dissertation topic is the role of metaphor in literary effects and the problems of literary translation. My scientific advisor is Xona, and he helps me a lot. And the content of my presentation is about has 3 chapters. The chapter 1, theoretical basis of metaphor and translation. The second chapter is about structural, functional, and communicative pragmatic aspects of metaphor in English and Uzbek languages. And the third chapter is about the translologic and problems of metaphor in translating literally. And firstly, I'm going to begin the introduction part. In the introduction part, I'll conduct the object, subject, the aim of my research paper. And the primary object of this research is the metaphors used in literary texts and their translations. And the subject of my research includes the strategies and methodologies employed in translating metaphors, as well as the outcomes of these translations in terms of preserving the original meaning and literary quality. And the next one, the theoretical and practical value of the research lies in the potential to inform literary analysis and into practical appliances, and also by bridging the gap between theoretical values and theoretical insights and practical applications into practice. It is the most important part of my research paper. Next, I'm going to talk about scientific notes of my research paper. Firstly, I have analyzed how metaphors function communicatively and pragmatically in Animal Farm and its Uzbek translation, and also I will use investigation of the method and strategies used in translating metaphors in Shumbala, and also its translation version and counterpart multi-void English version. And also, I will conduct a comparative analysis of the metaphor translation practices across French, Italian, and other 10 languages. Okay, I have identified common challenges and effective strategies in cross-cultural metaphors. The process of my research paper is assessing how well different translations preserve the metaphorical meanings and the overall literary quality of the original text, and also systematically identifying metaphors in selected literary texts, and also prose and such kind of literary works translated from Uzbek to English. The next one, examining the structural and functional aspects of metaphors in English and Uzbek literary texts to identify, to understand how they contribute to the overall narrative and thematic structure. Okay, the overall structure of my research paper, my dissertation has 3 parts: introduction, main body, and conclusion. There is no conclusion at the end of the chapters. Main body has 3 chapters, and the main content covers nearly 90 pages in general. And also, chapter 1, I will analyze one by one the theoretical basis of metaphor and translation. The paragraph 101, the notion of metaphor in linguistics, and the second one, the problems of translation in linguistics, and also there's the summary or we can say conclusion of the first chapter. And this is the graphical representation of how we can analyze metaphors in first way is methodological approach to metaphor analysis, definition, and we can analyze the metaphor through its definition function of metaphor in the literary text, and also conceptual metaphor theory, cognitive and cultural dimensions, and also pragmatic and discourse functions we can conduct, and how we can analyze metaphors. And this is a graphical representation of the figurative meanings of like analogies related to metaphor, or how we can say different parts of figurative meaning. This kind of a family of figurative meanings, and in my research paper I will conduct the similarities and also peculiarities of each figurative meanings, and I will conduct different aspects of metonymy, metaphor, irony, metaphor, hyperbole, metaphor, antithesis, metaphor, and simile. The next one. The connection of metaphor with other sciences. We can see metaphor not only in linguistics or literature, but also we can see chemistry, biology, astronomy, physics, biology, neuroscience, environmental sciences. We can see, for example, in biology, we can say Earth's crust as a jigsaw puzzle. Here, jigsaw puzzle is used as a metaphor, but in the context, as is not used, because if we use as, it's converted to simile. The next one. Okay, this is also a representation of ways of enhancing understanding scientific concepts on the metaphor. The first one, simplifying complexity, because we cannot understand the metaphor without simplifying complexity. These are the ways and factors how we can analyze the metaphors, or we can say the role or scope of metaphor in using in literary texts. The next one. And I will turn to translation, and also with a combination of metaphors, common challenges in translating metaphors. We can see challenges in my research paper. Linguistic differences are analyzed, and cultural specificity, emotional and aesthetic impact, and also individual and polysemy. And in these these contents can help us to understand challenges in translation. Also, to identify these challenges, I will give some examples in my research paper, and let's see them. Chapter 2 is about structural and communicative pragmatic aspects of metaphor in English and Uzbek languages. The paragraph 201 is about structural functional analysis of metaphors in literary texts in comparing languages. Communicative and pragmatic aspects of metaphor in English and Uzbek literature is a second paragraph of the second chapter. And this is also graphic and representation of metaphor used in communication. We can see the aim and objective of using in metaphors in communication. The first one is persuasion and rhetoric. The next one, cognitive facilitation, practical and social significance, and also aesthetic and expressive functions. And here's given some examples and also some sub-chapters and sub-paragraphs about persuasion and rhetoric. You can see activism, war metaphors, nature metaphors, health metaphors, garden metaphors, and advertising, all kinds of metaphors according to persuasion and rhetoric. The next one. Here's given some, here's a representation of one example of metaphor according to cognitive facilitation. For example, time is a sea, time is flowing a river, or in Uzbek language, for example, Kizim Karası is some examples of metaphors. And cognitive facilitation is the cognitive understanding of metaphors. For example, time is a thief. Here, get our time. So it's like an analogy of sleep, or the second one, time is a flowing river. Time is a river here, and here we can see time is flow and also continuity. It is a cognitive facilitation of metaphors. Next one. Here's given the real examples of animal fun, and I will differentiate the English version and also translated version. And in some parts, I will conduct the Google translation parts. I will differentiate English version, original translated version, also Google translated version. Here we can see some examples of metaphors. Here, business of England, hearken to my joyful tidings, and also golden future time. Here, golden is used as a metaphor according to time, because time is not golden. Yeah. The last one. Yeah, this is chapter 3 is about transtalogic problems of metaphor in translating literally. The first paragraph of chapter 3, problems of cultural metaphors in literary translation, and also the second one, methods for overcoming problems in the translating metaphor. This is like methods and also strategies to overcome conducted in the challenges of translation problems according to cultural metaphors or other problems. Here's given some translation methods. The first one, understand cultural context, consider audience and purpose, analyze literal and figurative meanings, and you can see a lot of them. I think I will conduct 14 of them, and to analyze them, I will conduct the book called Shumbala and in its English version. And in Shumbala, we can see Halfana, Palo, Abdullah, here is Bulgar, and some Bulgar words like Juanlar, Zumra, Shachelem, or Tamake, is translated using some strategies and methods, as I have mentioned ago. And Harfana is translated, having been translated to English, and Hello is used here, and Hello is used the same way in English, but here there is given explanatory notice. There is one of the strategies of translation. Abdullah Dolvar is omitted in the translation. So the one way of translating strategies is omission, and Juan Maria Zulasha cannot be haven't been used in the translated version. And Chilam and Tamaki is translated like Puka, but here in Uzbek version, Chilam and Tamaki is like the same meaning, but in English they cannot use the two words, they just use Puka. And I'll conduct some phrasal verbs, idiomatic expressions, and also diverse metaphors to identify metaphors. Here's the phrasal verb in Uzbek version, fall get shmok, and into literal translation, to fall into the hand. But the overall meaning is to get caught. Okay, this is one way of translation strategy. It is cultural context. When we translate something from one language to another, we should analyze and we should identify or consider cultural context. For example, non-sınırma. In English translation, breaking the bread, but in Uzbek version, we can use these words like to the meaning. But in this case, we should try to consider the cultural context when we translate this kind of cultural metaphors or cultural words in the abstract. The next one. Okay, there is a real example of adaptation of metaphor to target language. These extracts are from are from Shumwala, and also its translation a naughty boy. Here we can say Tarala Gizdan, Tarala Gizdan. Here is the translation play well and play enjoy. There is the same meaning, but we cannot find the equivalent of Tarala Gizdan, Tarala Gizdan. Here we can see it. Okay, I will conduct some cultural metaphors in English. We can say kick the bucket, and also the only bird catches the worm. Can the example of cultural metaphors in English? The next one. Okay, this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, good morning. It was a nice presentation, and your speech is also very fluent. Yeah, and you're feeling well. Just you are feeling fit while you are having a presentation. I'm so happy for your good achievement. But there is some two questions I have, which is misunderstanding what you might be. That's why let me ask you: could you give us examples of common challenges in translating metaphors? So you said there are some common challenges, right? Problems in translating. You count them, yeah? But you didn't give them some examples. What kind of problems do you have when translating some metaphors into Islam or into English? And this is my first question. And next one is, you just mentioned about translation problems, yeah? Even I didn't get the point. Could you define what is translation problem?
Okay. First, I am going to begin the second question. Translation problem is the problem and the challenge related to the translation. When we translate, we have some challenges and barriers like culture and syntax structure and grammatical aspects of two languages. Yes. For example, if we translate from Uzbek to English, this Uzbek language is an agglutinative culture, and also English language is fusional culture. This is one challenge in translation. We can see, and also there are some challenges of translating cultural words. Here is given some cultural metaphors, and also sometimes we can syntax and structure, grammar, culture can be the barrier of when we translate from one language to another.
Thank you. My first question.
Okay, I think I have mentioned that culture, syntax, structure, grammar is a barrier in translation.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you. I like your presentation. And you see that while you are presenting, you mentioned cognitive metaphor. Can you explain what kind of metaphor?
Okay, cognitive metaphor is a new concept in English, but in English there is also research at cognitive metaphors, and metaphors are classified cultural metaphors, cognitive, like this, and cognitive metaphor is a metaphor related to cognition, with our understanding. For example, cognitive metaphors, here, how can we simplify?
Related to the brain.
Cognition and also understanding. Metaphor related to brain and also mind, I think.
The second question. Well, in your third chapter, you gave lots of examples, yes? Yes, I couldn't get any kind of relationships to match the given examples.
I think there's given in the research paper, but I think I'm not give in my.
You just give me the words. You see, like ayrim prezidentlik davlatlarida juda qattiq metaforalar bor.
No, it is.
Hali bir narsa deyapsiz, yana shundan keyin ayrim so'zdan uzunroq deyapsiz. Qani metafora?
No, it is not metaphor. It is related to overcoming challenges in translation. So,
Okay. Mashqdan bog'lab keyin metafora o'qinishingiz kerak. Qani o'sha metafora misol? Zo'r. O'sha ham yo'q bermadingizda. Mana shu kutuvda qani hozir metafora bo'lib qoladi hozir.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation and your speech. I have 3 questions. I will use it together. First one, what kind of methods did you conduct? Overcome translation problem in your research work. Second one, what's the normality of your work? Third one, I think during your research work, you look through some other scientific researchers' work there. How can we find out differ in your work from their work?
okay, my note is on my research paper. I think I have researched some research paper on metaphors and also related to translation, but I cannot find the real examples of Shumbala and also its counterpart and Boy. I think it is the significant part or novelty of my research paper, and also I have given the animal farm and also its real translation Mohana. I think it is also the important part of my research paper because any researcher has researched the original version and also translated version of metaphors and also some problems related to translation. I will conduct the animal farm related to Mohana and Shumbala and Montibo. I think this is the novelty of my research paper. I think. And also, the first question, the method used in my research paper is the omission. When we translate from Uzbek or to other languages, we should try to use the omission. It is the best way of translating literally. Sometimes we can adapt metaphors to Arabic language. This is the next method or strategy to overcome translation problems. And the next one, I think, I will come back on research paper, 10 or 9 ways. And also the next one is we should try to consider the cultural context of the one language to another. For example, the next one is we can give explanatory notice. I will give the Palo, real example of Palo is used in Uzbek and English version in the same way, but in the foreground there is given some explanatory notes for the translation strategies and methods. It's clear. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mantap gimana?
Navbatni esa muzaylarni muhoratlarga beramiz va mavzularni o'rganuvchining psixologiyasi va shakllarni o'zlashtirish individual farqlar mavzusida bo'ladi. Va ilmiy rahbar Abdurahmonov Muhammadjon G'ulomjonovich, ishchi tahlilchi Namangan davlat universiteti ingliz tili amaliy kursi tahlilchi Sarmsaqov Muhammadjonova, tashqi tahlilchi esa Ibrat nomidagi Namangan davlat chet tillar instituti dotsenti Ahmadjon va Qobuljon qizi.
Değil mi? Oldu.
Nakız kısımlarında ve biraz
Ha, oturaya gel. Aranızda o şey. Sen şey burada çizgileri
Good morning, everyone. I'm Today I'm going to talk about my dissertation. My dissertation is the psychology of the language learner and individual differences in foreign language acquisition. My scientific advisor is Abdurrahman Muhammad.
Bir soru verelim.
Sizler. Tabii ne?
I use a lot of literature. For example, social learning provides a comprehensive overview of the psychological factors. Language learning, including motivation, anxiety, self-efficacy, and learning strategies. And early Oxford notes offers insights into the importance of learning strategies in language acquisition, providing practical guidance for educators on how to help learners develop effective strategies for language learning. First of all, I want to speak the subject of the work. The subject of the work you mentioned is the psychology of language learners and how individual differences play a role in the acquisition of foreign languages. This topic explores the various psychological factors that influence language learning, such as motivation, personality traits, learning styles, and cognitive abilities. Next one, I want to speak the object of the work, the psychology of the language learner, and individual differences in foreign language acquisition is to examine how psychological factors impact the process of learning a foreign language. This includes investigating how individual differences such as motivation, personality traits, cognitive abilities, and learning styles. Next one, I want to speak the aim of the work, the psychology of the language learner, and individual differences in foreign language acquisition is to provide a comprehensive analysis of how psychological factors impact the process of learning a foreign language. Specifically, the goal is to explore the role individual differences such as motivation, personality traits, cognitive abilities, and learning styles. Okay, my dissertation has 3 chapters. First chapter is brief overview of the psychology of language learning, engagement and persistence, effective learning strategies, language use and exposure, performance and achievement. motivation in language learning has incorporating various activities, providing feedback and recognition, setting clear goals, and creating a supportive environment. Second chapter has personality traits and their role in language learning, exploring the intersection of individuality and language acquisition. It has openness, experience, considering its extraversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Factors influencing individual differences, cognitive abilities, emotional factors, personality traits, and learning styles and preferences. The tasks of the work the third chapter has examination of importance of individual differences in foreign language acquisition, types of learning strategies, cognitive strategies, metacognitive strategies, and socio-affective strategies. Learning strategies play a pivotal role in language acquisition, influencing how individuals approach, process, and internalize new language content. Understanding the impact of learning strategies on individual differences in language learning is essential for educators, researchers, and language learners seeking to optimize learning outcomes, address diverse needs, and enhance language proficiency across various learner profiles. The task of the work, the psychology of the language learner and individual differences in foreign language acquisition include reviewing and conducting, analyzing, identifying, reviewing exciting literature on the psychology of language learning and individual differences in foreign language acquisition to establish a theoretical framework, conducting empirical research to investigate the impact of psychological factors such as motivation, anxiety, self-efficacy, and learning strategies on language learning outcomes. Analyzing the role individual differences such as personality traits, cognitive abilities, and learning styles in shaping language learning process and learning processes. Identifying effective teaching strategies and interventions that can address the diverse psychological needs of language learning. The scientific novelty of the research on the psychology of the language learner and individual differences in foreign language acquisition lies in several key aspects.
And we have now acquisition.
Okay. The study delves into a wide range of psychological factors that influence language learning, including motivation, anxiety, self-efficacy, and learning strategies. The research goes beyond examining general psychological factors to also consider individual differences such as personality traits, cognitive abilities, and learning styles. The research involves empirical research to investigate the impact of psychological factors and individual differences on language learning outcomes. The research aims to provide practical recommendations for educators based on an understanding of learner psychological profiles.
Yes, enough.
If this enough, thank you for the attention.
Well, I do thank you so much for your presentation. You should pay attention for pronunciations and I will okay. I have two questions. First one is what are the main methods of your research work? And second one, what are the main issues and representations of your research work?
Okay, methods of the research in order to accomplish the proposed aim, objectives, and tasks of this theoretical and practical work. The following research methods were used. Observation method and description method, data analyzing and processing and questionnaire. And the main issues and representations of the research on the psychology of the language learner addresses key issues related to psychological it provides a comprehensive analysis of this dynamic, offers empirical evidence to support its claims and propose practical implications for improving language education practice.
How can you express individual difference in teaching or learning foreign language? Individual differences.
I can express
You have your own manner, you have your own psychology, you have your own ability, yes, and I have my own ability or knowledge or manner or behavior, yes? That's individual. What about your own? Siz nima deb ifodalaysiz shu ishni? O'shani topdingiz, nimaga e'tibor berish kerakligini o'qitishda?
Ko'proq ular psixologiyasini o'rganib, ularni ko'proq motivatsiya berib turib shug'ullanishimiz kerak ekan.
Yani kimdir dominant bo'ladi, kimdir aziz bo'ladi. Hammasini jalb qilish kerak.
Mana unaqa so'z beraman, ta'rifini shunday qilib bersangiz, slaydni zo'r tutgansiz, dissertatsiya juda ozgina hayajonlaningiz, hamma ham hayajonlanadi. To'g'risi, ana shu yerda turish oson emas-da, kattalar ham hayajonlanadi. Hech narsa qilmaydi, bu yaxshi. Xo'p, men hozir dissertatsiyada language acquisition nima, metacognition nima, and I can think empirical analysis is numerical analysis, metacognition degan o'sha metodikani eng nima terminlarida bu kelayotgan tajriba.
Sonra belki o'sha tajriba
Acquisition, behavioral acquisition. Acquire, acquisition.
Oddiy download so'zini ham bolalar masalan o'rgatmasdan turib o'zi tushunib oladi. Masalan download form deydi. Chunki degan zapis form degani uni siz download acquisition qilib deb o'rgatmadingizda, bu o'sha atrof muhitdan uni downloadlagan bola hali ta'lim olmasdan turib tushunishdir. Mana shu language acquisition da. Numerical analysis, empiric tahlil deb beradi. Biz tajriba sinovini empiric tahlil asosida olib bordik. Bu qanaqa tahlil ashularga e'tibor qaratish kerak. Metacognition degan borada metacognitive skill qanaqa? Mana shularni o'rganish kerak. Tahlil qilish kerak.
The importance of fixed expressions in oral communication mavzusida bo'ladi. Ilmiy rahbarlar yurtlar qo'llangan burlash, taqdirchi Namangan davlat universitetida o'quvchilar bo'yicha konsertlar doktor Ochiq Vazirov qizi va tashqi taqdirchi Ibrat nomli Namangan davlat chet tillari instituti kafedralari PhD Erdo'zayev Abbos Oqobjovich.
Good morning, everybody. Teachers, my courses today. Now it's my turn to present my presentation. The topic of my presentation, the theme of my presentation is the importance of fixed expressions in oral spontaneity. When I firstly looked at my topic, at my theme, situation theme, I gave myself 4 questions which I want to share with you. What kind of questions? The first question is, what are fixed expressions? Firstly, let's answer to this question. Fixed expressions are phrases or groups of set words and structure. They cannot change their meaning, and they include idioms, proverbs, phrasal words, collocations, and clichés. For example, if we take the example for idioms, we can take break the ice. It means not, the literal meaning is changed, and it means to start the conversation. Phrasal words, give up. Give up is to quit for phrasal words. Proverbs, a friend in need is a friend indeed. Collocations, make a decision. We cannot say do a decision, we should say make a decision. And for cliché, I can give the example at the end of the day. Next question is, what is oral spontaneity? Oral spontaneity refers to the ability to speak naturally and fluently without any extensive preparation, and it involves responding questions or engaging in conversations. Key aspects of oral spontaneity include fluency, coherence, vocabulary, pronunciation, adaptability. And the third question was why are fixed expressions important? Because they can help in conversation. They include fluency, efficiency in conversation, cultural understanding. They can avoid misunderstanding, and predictability and clarity. And the last question was, why it's important, fixed expressions, the importance of fixed expressions in oral spontaneity. The importance is, first one is, again, fluency, speed, and efficiency, naturalness, easy of understanding, confidence, coherence, cohesion, and expressiveness. So, let me start my presentation. So, first one, it includes 3 chapters. First one is phraseological units in the aspect of linguistic and linguicultural research. The second one, etymology and classification of English phraseological units. And the last one is linguistic analysis of English phraseological units. What is subject and object of my presentation? The object of this dissertation is English phraseological units in oral spontaneity, and the subject is research aspects of English phraseological units in oral spontaneity and their composition. As we know, fixed expressions are phraseological units, and phraseology means phrasal expressions and logos study. The aim of this paper is to identify the significance of commonly used English phraseology in oral spontaneity. And the tasks. To give a general description of fixed expressions, to reveal the features of linguicultural logical aspect of the study, to define the concepts, phraseological unit, fixed expressions, and to study and compare grammatical structures of phraseological units in the English language. And what kind of method do we use? Structural, statistical, comparative, and sampling method. Scientific novelty. Scientific novelty is the most interesting part of this presentation. First one is borrowed English phraseology
phraseology in oral spontaneity are identified. Structural and semantic features of English phraseology are determined. Cognitive aspects of English phraseology are determined. And classification of English phraseology is analyzed. There is too much classifications. We can say it's uncountable. And in the first chapter, we look at an explanation of the phraseological unit and main characteristics in linguistics. So, as we said before, a phraseological unit is a fixed, is a recurring combination of words, and they feature three combinations: integrity of meaning, holistic meaning, high stability, different quality formations. According to Zhukov, phraseological unit is a phrase reproduced in speech modeled on coordinating or subordinating phrases, having a holistic meaning and combined with a word. Linguistic and cultural aspect of the study of phraseological units. The linguistic and cultural aspects of phraseological units are deeply interconnected. The way these expressions are formed, understood, and used within language cannot be fully appreciated without considering the cultural context. Main applications you may see in this picture: cross-cultural research, translation and interpretation, language teaching and learning, applications of linguoculturology. Linguoculturology offers a comprehensive framework for exploring the deep connections between language and culture by examining how cultural values and world views are encoded and transmitted through language. This field provides valuable insights into the interplay between linguistic and culture phenomena. The notion of fixed expressions in linguistics, I said it also before, but the main features, the main functions of fixed expressions in linguistics we can see here: creating a sense of identity, adding color and variety, expressing emotions, conveying meaning. In the second chapter, etymology and classification of English phraseological units. Origin of English phraseological units, or idioms, or expressions where the meaning cannot be deduced from the literal definitions of the world. Here you can see a few examples and their original background. For example, if we take bite the bullet, refers to a practice in the 18th and 19th centuries where soldiers would bite on a bullet during surgery without amnesia. Burn the midnight oil comes from the pre-electricity era when people used oil lamps to work late into the night. On the last one, the cat's out of the bag refers to a medieval market scam where a farmer would substitute a cat for a piglet in a bag. Once the cat was out, the scam was revealed. And borrowed English phraseological units. They are taken from different languages, and borrowing of English phraseological units involves various processes through which idioms and expressions from other languages are incorporated into English. They can be divided into two groups: interlingual and intralingual. Primary ways of borrowing English phraseological units: phrase borrowing, literal borrowing, hybridization, transliteration and adaptation, semantic borrowing, cultural borrowing, coping, and direct borrowing. You may miss. French. Borrowed from French. It's also interesting. C'est la vie. What does it mean? That's life, expressing acceptance of the situation. Or déjà vu, the feeling that one has already experienced the present situation. And a word from Italian, prima donna. What does it mean? A very temperamental, yes, and or demanding person. First lady. Don't you read that? A life of pleasure and luxury. Classification of English phraseological units. There are structural, for example, for structural classification we can take 3 word combinations. For example, kicks a bucket, brings on. Semantic classifications, a phrase where the meaning cannot be deduced. We can take raining cats and dogs. Functional classification, communicative phraseological units. For example, by the way, we can here divide into 2 groups, non-compositional and compositional. If we take non-compositional, we can take by the way or what's up. Origin classification, native phraseological units, phrases that have originated in English. Breaks ice, spills the beans, and syntactic classification. And the last chapter, structural semantic analysis of English fixed expressions. In order to analyze English phraseological units in terms of structural semantic point of view, first we will talk about some structural types of phraseological units. First one is substantive fixed expressions. Its core component is noun. For example, we can take the example, a gift, a fortune. Next, fixed expressions with a structure adjective plus noun. We can take a hot, a labor, or tourism. Next one, fixed expressions with a structure noun plus noun. World works we can take, for example. And the last one, fixed expressions with a structure pronoun plus pronoun plus noun. To machine, to pronoun and machine, noun. Cognitive analysis of modern fixed expressions of the English language. Analyzing fixed expressions or idiomatic expressions in modern English from a cognitive perspective involves understanding how these expressions are processed, stored, and used by the brain. They also have some keys here. You may see cognitive processing, cognitive flexibility, neurological basis, cognitive mechanisms, and the last one, semantic features of English idioms. Semantic features of English idioms are complex and multifaceted, often reflecting the rich interplay between literal meanings and figurative interpretations. Here are some examples for literal and figurative meaning. Kicks a bucket, to strike a bucket with one's foot. It's a figurative meaning. Literal meaning and figurative meaning is entirely different. It means to die, if I'm not mistaken. And here you may see the certifications. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, fixed expressions. Yes. Are there any differences between fixed expressions and physiological units?
Physiological units, yes. There is only a little difference, but as I said before, fixed expressions are also called physiological units because it's a physiological unit too. So, what's difference? Physiological units are more broader, wider, and fixed expressions a little specific.
Fixed expressions usually include and physiological units, idioms, collocations. And what is the difference between idioms and physiological units?
No, physiological units include idioms, collocations. In some books, I saw that physiological units include collocations and
What's the collocation?
2 words for example, make a decision.
Make a decision.
Yes.
You cannot, for example, use instead of make, do decision. Yes?
Yes.
Right. It requires the word make. Make a lesson plan, miss a bus, like that. This is a qualification.
I watched much on YouTube, very many professors, and some say that fixed expressions and phraseological units are same, and some say that they have a little difference because fixed expressions don't include idioms and collocations. But in some books you can see that they say fixed expressions include collocations as phraseological unit and they are same.
What about you? But you did, you investigate, you see this topic.
I say
Let's see. That's why you give lots of examples.
because they all fixed. That's why we say phraseological unit is fixed. So it's the same.
What is the oral spontaneity?
Oral spontaneity is the ability to speak naturally, fluently, and
Unintentionally. Right?
yes, without extensive preparation.
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me about the cliche? You mentioned about the cliche, yes? It's one type of the extra expression. Could you tell me what is cliche?
I'm sure that they also have types of cliches because in some books you can see at the end of the day is also cliche, and like for verbs, ventilate and never is also cliche. So it's also a big theme. Yeah.
What kind of connection does it have?
Because it's also fixed, that's why it is in fixed expressions. We cannot change any word.
Can you give an example, please?
Better late than never, or at the end of the day.
Okay, thank you so much.
Orada da better late than never uzman mahal diye boylandı da şimdi şöyle uzman
Okay, that's great. So thank you so much for your presentation. Now I know even I will include your presentation. You gave some examples. Yes, the expression and the multiple units. But from where, my first question, from where did you get your examples? Did you look through also letter writer book?
I have two big books. One was printed in 1987. It's the oldest one. You may see the articles here. And my friend advised me that it's, you can use it for boring fixed expressions and not fully. And the second book is Panger's. The author is Panger, fixed expressions in words and sentences. Also, I have two books and I used ChatGPT. I watched YouTube professors. I listened much about it. So I found them from the internet and from books.
Okay, did you find any different ideas of science which they gave different theories to the expression? And so or did they give the same idea?
I said, I answered this question. Some say that there is no difference, and some say there is a little difference.
What about your method?
I think there is no difference because phraseological unit is fixed. So there is no difference.
Nasıl? Olaya başladı. Aha.
Thank you.
İşinize fırsatı gereken şeyler olabilir. Orada işte her yaşlı şekilde Thank you.